against control. This shot, Bruce score, they score. They tie the game up 2-2.
Some drives out for Robbie Ryan. Her three right on the money. This is Taya Hansen for three. Other side of the rim with a pretty reverse.
Wow. 5 seconds to go.
Find Hawk. Hawk spins. It rolls on. And Arizona State wins it.
Edwards pulls off and buries the puck.
Daniels takes the shot for Kirby.
Welcome into Pitchfork Lunch. Yes, I am Michael Caratanito at Diablo00 on Twitter is where you are on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter. Man, take a little time off and see I go back to the old ways. But yes, on X, formerly known as Twitter, you can see it there. Also, the show Pitchfork Lunch, we are back. I hope everybody, let me start off by saying I hope everybody had a phenomenal Christmas with family, friends, just loved ones in general from all over. Great holiday season to this point. Obviously, as the year comes to an end, New Year's coming up, but I hope everybody had a phenomenal holiday season with, like I said, family and friends, and enjoyed the well, depending where you were, cooler weather. I know some are skiing, some are visiting family, all that good stuff. And yes, I did a little bit of that too. So no complaints as we approach, like I said, the new year. Obviously, New Year's coming up, as today is December 28th. So 3 days left of 2023. And we will take today and tomorrow, obviously, talk about what's going on in Sun Devil country. Hoops, women's hoops getting set to play their last non-conference game this Saturday against Santa Clara. The men, after the new year, will be headed to the Bay Area to open up conference play against Stanford and Cal. And yeah, looking to get off to a consistent start. They've had a little bit of time, obviously, to digest per se and reflect on non-conference play, where, you know, they did finish. They finished up 6-5. Again, a tough 3 losses in a row, actually, to USD, TCU, and then Northwestern. And we touched on it before for a little holiday break there, that it was some of the hoops was ugly, some of it was not. And you see where this team can grow, what it can do, but they have to get it done now. And so we'll talk about that. But for the women, like I said, they take on Santa Clara before they start conference play against the mountain schools. And Sun Devil hockey, my friends. Yes, they will be in the Adirondack Winter Invitational, which is in Lake Placid, New York. I talked about that. They will be taking on Clarkson in the first round. Just saw that about 25 minutes ago. Coach Powers and his team will take on Clarkson in the, like I said, in the first round in the Adirondack Winter Invitational, which is in Lake Placid, New York. And where are they playing? Hockey fans, hockey buffs, hockey historians, in the Herb Brooks Arena. Herb Brooks, the U.S. national men's team, or the Olympic team, U.S. men's national team, sounds like soccer, but the Olympic coach from the 1980 Miracle on Ice, which that call was made, yes, by who broadcast that whole hockey tournament for the U.S. Al Michaels, Sun Devil, Forks Up. Yes, we love our Sun Devils. I love our Sun Devils, as you know, here on Pitchfork Lunch. But yeah, they're in Lake Placid. So the 29th tomorrow in the opening round, they will have Clarkson. So I'll get into that as well. Transfer portal news, yes. We had the early signing day, and we got to talk to Canyon Floyd, the punter signee for ASU, who is at Horizon High School, also playing soccer as well. No surprise, kicking and soccer, and just getting his thoughts on that. But it was awesome catching up with him. But more news in the transfer portal. As of yesterday, Keyshawn Elliott, the team captain and a linebacker for New Mexico State, a second team all-conference linebacker and team captain. But it's a young man that's a 2-year starter, has 2 years of eligibility left. He had 111 tackles to lead the team this year, which is, from the linebacker position, you definitely want to see that. You love seeing that. And he also had 10 tackles for losses, which led the team 2.5 sacks last year, was one of the team captains as well. So there's a coach, head coach that stepped down at New Mexico State. And so he decided to enter the transfer portal, had quite a few offers, I want to say from USF, was it Kansas as well? I want to say what did he have? Houston, Kansas. Yeah, I was right about that. UCF and ASU. And he chose to come, being at New Mexico State and Las Cruces, just a little bit closer, staying in the West Coast, committing to ASU. And again, in a defense, like I said, he's with what Brian Ward did last year, and you saw what Coach Ward has done throughout his career. We talked about it a ton during football season because it was very pertinent. But yeah, it's linebacker, 6'3", 225. He's from Richmond, Missouri. Went to Richmond High School, but this young man, again, is was looking to contribute right away. And again, Division I, somebody with Division I, obviously playing time, experience, has 2 more years. Again, got to adjust to Coach Ward's system. But I'm guessing Coach Ward, again, looking at him on tape, seeing what he's done, knows he can get him to fit in, and needing to get a little bit more, again, get some depth at linebacker. And Trey Brown, obviously, the transfer from Washington State, but again, his eligibility is gone. And again, heck of a year he had, and definitely saw, not that he didn't see his leadership anyway, but that being said, you definitely saw what he meant to the defense. And, when he was banged up, I mean, just even in practice with how he was helping the linebackers out and all. And I mean, the defense in general with the linebackers where they're supposed to be. So him getting back on the field, always good, always great to catch up with Trey as well. And again, wish him nothing but the best as he goes forward. But yeah, I mean, Keyshawn Elliott, very excited for this young man and coming into this defense. And again, it was a little bit of a late get, but he will be enrolled. Obviously, he'll be enrolling in spring classes, so he'll be here for spring ball. As like I said, this year comes to an end. The new year bowl season rocking as well, but he will. He will be. It'll again be very interesting to see how they can plug and play right away. But yeah, again, that's just kind of what's going on. What we're going to get to. Again, you can check out the show live on X at Diablo00. The artist formerly known as Twitter is where you can find it. Also, IG Live, doing it there, and the YouTube Pitchfork Lunchers. I didn't forget. I know holidays. I didn't forget. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go to my YouTube channel, subscribe again, watch the shows, share the shows. You want to get involved again, hit me up. There's again, great opportunity there. But go to YouTube, go to my YouTube channel, M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Cat 005 at MVC005 on YouTube, and subscribe. Again, all the interviews from the time I started, again, back in August, again, the Pitchfork Lunch Mojo. We're throwing it out into the universe, as they say. But and yes, he had a lot of talent, and he's a very, very good coach. But JJ Van Neal, the women's volleyball coach, first to come on, and it just led to a Sweet 16 run, Pac-12 Coach of the Year, AVCA Southern Region Coach of the Year honor, and Marta Levinska, an All-American, and what she did. And obviously this team was, again, phenomenal. So stoked and lucky to get to cover the volleyball team. But interview with JJ Van Neal, and like I said, ton of players. I mean, Roberta Habello kicked it off on the player side, and then we have Mary Schroll, Jelly Sear, Maddie McLaughlin, Claire Jeter. We had Jelly Sear twice. So yes, Jelly Sear twice, Maddie McLaughlin, Claire Jeter. So Roberta Habello, Mary Schroll, Jelly Sear, Maddie McLaughlin, Claire Jeter, and Coach Van Neal twice as well. So, and Presley Anderson, former Hamilton Husky, local player, and she is an assistant coach on the team, did a phenomenal job, again, working with Coach Van Neal. And she started her collegiate volleyball career at Cal, and then transferred to Baylor, finished up there. And just ironic enough, she started in the Pac-12 and ended in the Big 12. And now that season is over. So volleyball getting set for their next season in the Big 12, as is football. And oh, yes, I know. Maybe after the new year, each day after the new year, the wound will close a little bit, and there won't be too much salt in it. But hit me up on X. Let me know what you guys think. I mean, I know I've talked about it, haven't asked. What do you guys feel? Hit me up in the comments as well. What are your, how are you feeling about going to the Big 12? And yes, there's a lot of credit on the blame to go around as to how the Pac-12 crashed to unceremoniously end. But hit me up. Comment on here if you're watching. Comment in here and let me know. And we can again, we can talk about it. It's like I said, it's just crazy. The calendar's about to turn, and I mean, we already saw next next season's away games, home and away games, conference wise for ASU in the Big 12 and Arizona. Like I said, I mean, obviously Arizona went as well. And then Colorado and Utah also went to the Big 12. So again, still enough in the region, but there's going to be a little bit of traveling, and yeah, it's always cool. I mean, again, that's why out of conference games are fun. Now, would they have scheduled some of these teams out of conference? You know, who knows? I know there's. I remember, I think in like 2028 and 2031, they did a home and home with Florida, but instead of doing it back to back years, it's 3 years apart. Um, ASU has that on the books, so that is a question that I need to find out who I need to ask about that. But nonetheless, um, it's one of those things where we'll get to see some cool new venues. I mean, hoops wise, obviously going to Kansas, going to Lawrence, going to Manhattan. Um, Iowa State for football. Um, um, but yeah, I mean, going to Cincinnati and West Virginia, chance to go there, and obviously then to USF. But I mean, and they've played at BYU. I mean, just in the recent past. So I mean, going to Provo. Um, Obviously, playing Texas Tech and Baylor, and they were just at Oklahoma State 2 years ago. So going there, it's um, so they were just there, and then obviously no Texas or Oklahoma because they're headed to the SEC. So that's very to me that'll be very interesting because like getting to go to those sites in the Big 12 will be cool. I mean, basketball wise too. I mean, um, Allen Fieldhouse. I mean, for Kansas, like that's for a lot of people. Again, I mean, you can say a traditional blue blood and everything, but to get to go there, kind of definitely to me, if you're a college hoops fan, I think even if you're just a casual college hoop fans and you see like those traditional like those long-standing bloods, like to go to a game, in Kansas, obviously, Pauley Pavilion, having been there for UCLA, and this will actually be the last Pac-12 matchup, obviously on the road, and that's in March, right after 2 days after the greatest day in March. And again, gonna lock it down, but gonna go out and you'll get to meet my friend Nick. As long as everything lines up like it can, you will get to meet my friend Nick, as I talked about, and I'll be like, hey, have you met my friend Nick? And um yeah, to go from there, it's one of those things where, but I mean, UCLA, Kansas, Kentucky, both Carolina and Duke. Um, I mean, through out history, obviously those teams, but to go check out games there, Kentucky, like I said as well. Yes, and even being fair, that school down south, how they developed and tradition that they have built down there, and that has continued down there for a long time. Now, yes, I know pitchfork lunchers, we can take the low hanging fruit easy and say, oh well, it is in Tucson, but I mean, again, the tradition that's been through there, that's to me, that's what's always made going to certain, stadiums and arenas, like, yes, the tradition, yes, how it's how the tradition has, how big it's been, like, players that have come through there, obviously great matchups, you know, and yes, have they won, a national titles. I mean, like I said, the first time, like, I remember when I first time I walked in the Poly Pavilion, I think it was my sophomore year at ASU, and I'm like, yeah, we got to go to the UCLA game. Like, I got to go, and we did, and it was, again, I just look forward to going back this year, and would love to obviously stick the Bruins with a nice loss on the way out the door. Like I said, salt is still in the wound, so it's tough because they obviously had a lot to do with this too. But yeah, I mean, you think of, like, going to Kansas, getting Kansas State, always feels like the little brother, but they've developed um, it's a good atmosphere there. And like I said, going to Texas Tech, going to to Lubbock, to go to Texas Tech, to go to Baylor, which is in Waco. Then you think of Iowa State. So yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting, and just go from there. And one of those things, and it's like I said, part of it is exciting, but I much rather would have visited those in non-conference play. And I know quite a few did go to the Kansas game a few years ago, although it wasn't at their home. I think that it was in a bigger arena. But either way, beating Kansas on the road, beating Kansas here, you see it in the opening. So yes, to me, like I said, getting the opportunity to go in non-conference when might have that happened, in football and or in, like, in basketball. So, in baseball, I mean, there's some great, obviously, great baseball that's been played in the Pac-12 and venues and stuff. So yeah, it's like I said, coming to the new year, whatever, end of the year, it's not about even just feeling nostalgic. It's just, this is the reality and that's what's going. But I'm going to step aside. When we get back, I'm going to jump into, again, hoops, men's and women's, and we'll also talk a little hockey, like I said, as well. But we'll jump into men's and women's hoops, what they have coming up, kind of recap what they've done so far. And just in case you forgot, again, enjoying time with your family. That's why I'm here. I enjoyed it, but to remind you of where they're at, what they're doing, and yeah, hoops, hockey, transfer portal, all that good stuff. We'll step aside, and more coming up here on Pitchfork Lunch. All right, we are back here on Pitchfork Lunch. I am Michael Caracino at Diablo00 on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter, is where you can find me and the show. Also on my IG Live, Michael.Caracino.5. And yes, Pitchfork Lunchers on the YouTube. If you haven't gone, if you missed any shows, so we started, like I've talked about, the interviews, the coaches, ton awesome coach interviews, players as well, insiders, the voice of the Sun Devils, um, people that have covered this conference for a very long time, all there. So you can go to my YouTube channel at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Cat 005 at MVC005 on YouTube and subscribe. Binge watch the shows. You have some time over break here. Hopefully you've done some of that, the ones that you've missed, and gone back and watched some of your favorites. Who knows? But nonetheless, go to the YouTube and do that, and it'll all be there. And yes, as the new year comes, as the year end comes to a head here, and we roll into the new year, more interviews to come, and it will be again a very, very, very good. Very fun and exciting new year. So yes, I'm looking forward to that. But subscribe to the YouTube channel. Pardon me. And guess what? You can go back. Anything you missed, it's all there for you. So share the shows, subscribe, all that good stuff. But yes, we are jumping in. We're back. We're talking about men's hoops who wrapped up non-conference play. Like I said, a little bit of a roller coaster. They're at 6-5 right now, and they've lost 3 straight. I mentioned that in the open if you missed it, but silver lining is they're 5-0 at home. So they have defended home court. They're 0-1 away, and they are 1-4. It's the tough part on neutral sites. So, and that goes into the, when they're weighing in, obviously how they played. Yes, there's much improvement to be done before March if you want to have a chance to get to the dance, as they say, as in the NCAA tournament. But look, I mean, like I said, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster, but they've shown the resiliency to bounce back after a bad loss. And you see it there. And, when hopefully, like I said, coach said it would probably be the beginning of conference play with Sean Phillips Jr. A 7-footer that can protect the rim. You have the length, again, rebounding, which has been, and guys, look, have been working on it. I shouldn't say working on it, but they've been, the guards. You've talked about Jemiah Neal and Frankie Collins doing a great job of crashing the boards, getting 5 to rebound. And, they with again, unfortunately, because of being a little bit banged up, the depth of the front court isn't what Coach Hurley obviously envisioned through the fall and practicing and obviously getting the season started. So, but again, rebounding, definitely need to keep with that. But you get Phillips back, you get Zane Meeks back. It makes a huge, huge difference. I know, yes, to overstate the obvious, Pitchfork Lunchers, but again, that's one avenue. But this team has showed, like I said, resilience to bounce back from a loss, bad loss, or loss just in general, so you like to see that. Again, the rebounding, the shooting. Yes, it there needs to become a lot more consistent and steady, because especially when you're getting wide open looks looks a little more wide open. It is tough to keep missing those because teams will just be like, fine, we'll lay off, go ahead, shoot it. Then we'll finally step out on you when you make one, make 1 or 2. That being said, you can see it is there. They have to me, they have the shooters on the court that can do it. And yeah, open shots, of course, they're gonna that level, players that are there, yeah, everybody goes through a little bit of a lull, but um, the bummer can be if you get in a slump as a team, that's a tough part. That's the tough one. I mean, in any sport, and you get related to, sometimes baseball, if one guy, usually if, a guy's slumping, not everybody is, but every now and then you'll see it where the stars align, the stars align perfectly, but not perfectly for the team it's happening to, where, you get 4 or 5 guys just completely slumping and trying to get out of a hitting slump. And then, that first hit drops and then bats, start waking up, as they say. Same thing with, basketball. I mean, usually if one guy's not having a good game, or, is just off for a game, or is just kind of in a little bit of a lull, that's one of the things, usually other players, teammates will pick up. So from that standpoint, it's you got to see the shots go down, but they got to start making them, and teams will, of course, have to adjust to what they're doing. But do I think they have it in them? Absolutely. Jose Perez, I think he's been a pleasant surprise. Yes, he was a transfer that came in late and just kind of, again, getting used to the team. And I think you see each game, which is, of course, easy to say, but low hanging fruit. But each game, each practice, getting more comfortable. But each game, the spacing, what he likes to do, what he can do, and how it will open up guys for shots. So to that point, I love, again, and they're going to need to have that consistency in conference play, because it does not, of course, get any easier, as we all know. So yes, the shooting, coming back from, bouncing back from, a loss, bad losses, they've been able to do. Now it's a little 3-game slide. The rebounding, like I said, hitting open shots, and you defensively, I mean, that intensity's got to pick up a little bit too, because in these look, the first half against USD, they only gave up 28 points, but in the second half, USD, I mean, they did shoot very well, or USD shot very well. And I mean, they scored 61 in the second half. You just, that's not a Bobby Hurley team. And that kind of, I think that started this 3-game losing streak. And then you're up big on TCU, and then they kind of battle back to get it close, make it close at halftime. And then in the second half, they just absolutely blow the doors open and beat you by 20. Do I think TCU is a good team? Yes. Do I think they're 20 points better than ASU? They're playing a thing? No. And then Northwestern, I mean, you score 13 points in the first half, and that game's, for all intents and purposes, over at halftime. But they did battle back. I mean, they did hit a shot and get to within, 14, which people say, well, 14. But look, from where they were to getting there, and then they lose, 65-46. But, scoring 33 points in the second half. You figure you score, hey, if you score 33 in the first half, you win by 1. It was just a terrible, terrible, atrocious first half, which Northwestern caused. You know me, I'm not going to talk out of both sides of my mouth. Yes, there were some open shots missed, but there was contested shots. Northwestern hitting their shots, and there was, breakdowns on defense, guys left alone under the basket. So again, Northwestern did cause a lot of that. Now, were there open jump shots missed? Coach Hurley talked about it. Yes. And you could just, you saw the sound, you saw the post-game presser here on Pitchfork Lunch. Like, he was just frustrated. And Frankie Collins said the teams, they can play with the lead and it's going good, but for some reason, like when they get punched in the mouth, how do they respond? And he said, maybe they're, I'm pseudo paraphrasing, but just said, mentally that they got to get tougher mentally, and they're a little bit soft. And, him as a point guard, that's his thing. And, Coach Hurley said, we got to do a better job of, getting them ready, getting them in spots, and take responsibility. And then Frankie Collins, before he answered his first question, as you saw here on Pitchfork Lunch, he said, hey, it's not, we we have to do this. Coaches put together a game plan, a very good game plan that if we execute, we know we can do. But he's like the coaches aren't to blame. But yeah, it's a little time off. And yes, I mean they're going to start. I want to say they're practicing today. If not today, they're practicing tomorrow. And then, like I said, as they get ready for Stanford and Cal on the road. Well, actually, they are already playing. They take on, I said after the new year. My apologies. They take on Stanford tomorrow. They're not practicing tomorrow. They're playing tomorrow. That's where I screwed it up. I'm like, this doesn't seem right. The whole time I'm saying this, I'm like, this doesn't seem right. That's because they have been practicing, yes. They take on Stanford tomorrow at 9 p.m. local time. But, of course, California being an hour behind us, they're on Pacific time. We're on Mountain time, and it's 8 o'clock there. But on ESPN2, you can check it out. And then, well, it's on ESPN2. It's also on radio on ESPN 620 AM and Sirius XM 373. You can check that out there. So yeah, it's that is where Stanford's at. Then on Sunday, on New Year's Eve, they are taking on Cal at 6 o'clock local time, 5 o'clock there. They'll be in Berkeley, and it'll be on the Pac-12 networks, and of course, and then again on ESPN Radio 620 AM and Sirius XM 392. So yeah, that's what they have this weekend. And again, 9 days between games, a little holiday, get a little family time, get a little recharged and focus. And I'm sure, look, being around Coach Hurley, people can say, oh, well, they always say, oh, he's a competitor. Or, when people say, oh, you say, oh, this guy's, the competitor. They're all competitors, but there are levels to it. And not that, again, to get to the highest level or the higher levels you keep going. Yes, you have to be good? Yes, talented, but I mean, competitive battle. And definitely know Coach Hurley has that in him, and this doesn't sit well with him. And like I said, you write the defense, even if you're not doing great on offense. And that's one thing that throughout his tenure here is that if the offense, has struggled a little bit or, hasn't hit shots defensively, though, that end of the floor, it's charged up the offensive side. It's definitely not taking a hit, and shots not falling. Fine, get back and play defense, control it. Frustrated team, keep a team in the 60s. High, mid to high 60s. Well, just anywhere in the 60s actually. And you'll feel confident about winning a lot of games. I mean, they lost 89 to 84, like I said, to USD on the 9th, and they were cruising. They were up by 8 and then up by 12, 8 at half, and then at one point up by 12 in the second half. And, USD just kept chipping away. And then when they got close, they just didn't have an answer in the end to counterpunch one more time. And like I said, that started a 3-game losing streak. But yeah, Stanford tomorrow, 9 p.m. ESPN2 on TV, radio, 620 AM here locally in XM 373. So we will again get a little bit more ready for that. Talk a little bit more Stanford tomorrow, and then like I said, they take on Cal on Sunday. On the women's side, it is again a team that is 8-4. Again, they had lost 2 in a row for head coach Natasha Adair, who has been on the show. Yes, she came on before the season started. So again, we look forward in the new year to talking to some Sun Devil lady hoopers, also men's hoopers as well. But yes, they are 8-4, and coming off a win at the Jerry Colangelo Hall of Fame series, which that's where the men played Northwestern. The Jerry Colangelo Hall of Fame series, as they beat him 80 to 76. So putting up a lot of points and giving up a few, but they again, they bounced back, had a solid performance. They take on Santa Clara like it's tomorrow afternoon, or not tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday, Saturday afternoon. If you're in the area, Desert Financial Arena, go down there, check the game out. They again have done well. Well, they're 5-2 at home. Again, they did drop their last two home games. To Grand Canyon and then to, yes, that team down south who shot 65% from the 3-point line. So, yes, that was an insane game. But they're 8-4 overall, 0-run in conference play. They're, like I said, 5-2 at home, 0-1 away. That's like Grambling, and 3-1 on a neutral site. So you love to see that. And just real quick, I mean, they opened up the season and they beat UTSA, and then turned around and beat Montana State. They beat San Francisco, and then went to Grambling for the Pac-12 SWAC Legacy Series, which, again, that was the unfortunately last of that. Well, as we know it, at least. They lost to Grambling by 70-67. I mean, they came charging back, but just fell a little bit short there on the road. Then they turned around and beat Idaho State, lost to Texas in the Virgin Islands Paradise Jam, 42-80 or 84-42. Then they beat South Florida 66-49, and then beat High Point 77-69. Came home and hosted the Brianne January Classic, and they beat Pacific 76-66. And then their game against Xavier was canceled because after Xavier played Temple, too many players banged up. They didn't have enough healthy players to play, so they couldn't play that game. And then they took on Grand Canyon and lost at home 66-59, and then lost 91-52. Again, that game against Arizona was very, very tough, but they bounced back, like I said, on the 20th and beat Fresno State 80-76, which was huge to get to 8-4. Now they take on Santa Clara Saturday at 1:00. Like I said, local time here. It's going to be on the ASU live stream, and you can check it out on radio as well on KDUS AM 1060 on the radio. But Coach Adair, I mean, look, to this point of the season, and no Ty Skinner, as we know, knew that before the season, as she's out this year. But it's a team that, again, has gotten Maggie Besselink back, and just overall in general, knock on wood, has stayed healthy, which is huge. Because you look at what they're doing, and I mean, Jalen Brown with some huge games is now leading the team in scoring, averaging 14.4 points per game. Jaden Simmons, who hit the 1,000-point mark, and again, can't wait to talk to her, catch up with her. Again, looking at like after the new year, but Jaden Simmons over 1,000 points, is averaging 13.1 points per game, and then Treyana Crisp averaging 9.2 points per game. Like I said, Maggie Besselink, who they have gotten back, she's at averaging 4.2 points a game. But averaging just about 5 boards a game as well. Khadijah Toure leading the team, averaging 6 boards a game, but she's averaging 9.2 points per game. So, look, it's a team that, yes, Coach obviously had, like I said, when she took over, some players hit the transfer portal, and they were here playing for Charlie Turner Thorne. And yes, they, again, probably wanted them to stay, and Coach had to deal with that. And then she had to deal with that, and then a little bit of the knock on wood, unfortunately, injury bug last year. But again, team battle. Nobody's going to feel sorry for you. You got to go out and play. And your players that are out there, I mean, we started to see growth, and especially between Simmons and Skinner. And that, to me, was going to be even bigger going into this year because of, what they could do in the backcourt, how that would create a lot of open shots, what Skinner could do, how Simmons was playing off her, how Simmons was playing off Skinner, Skinner playing off Simmons. And, you get somebody, in the post, like Maggie Besselink back, and that to me, I mean, that's huge. And she, but yeah, Coach Adair's done a phenomenal job with that. And again, to be 8-4, chance to finish out non-conference play at 9-4, and charging, like I said, into conference, as the mountain schools will be here, Utah and Colorado. They open up with that. But yeah, I mean, what Brown and Simmons and Crisp have done, and then getting Izzy Sousa back. I mean, she's played in one game, but that was the she played a little bit against Arizona, and that was her, first game back. So just getting her back, and then it looks like she didn't um but yeah, I mean, getting to infuse her now into the lineup as, again, they wrap up non-conference play with Santa Clara. Journey Thompson as well. I mean, you look at, they said Jayla Brown, 14.4 a game, Simmons 13.1, Chris 12.4, Khadijah Toure 9.2, Treasure Hunt 6.9, Journey Thompson 6.5 points a game, Maggie Besselink, like I said, 4.2. But it's a team that's averaging 35.6 rebounds a game, and they're just a teeny bit behind their opponents, who are averaging 38.6 against them. So, I mean, 3 rebounds, but that's going to keep you in it every night. You're not getting crushed on the boards. That's one thing. And I know Coach Adair is talking about that. But again, having those players down low that can, that are healthy, that can bang around and get, like I said, get the rebounds. It's huge. And even though it's a tough game against Arizona, ASU and Texas, ASU has outscored their opponents this year 813 to 797, just, which is averaging 67.8 points a game to their opponent 66.4. Shooting 42% from the field, their opponents shooting 39%, shooting 32% from three, their opponents shooting 33, almost 34%. Free throws, again, that needs to get better. They're at 67.3 while their opponents are at 71.3. But again, you build off of 67. You gotta hit those free shots. I know I always say it to overstate the obvious, but still, it's one of those things where, and even on the men's side, I mean, that's been terrible for the men. There have been players that, yes, have been good on the men's side, but you can't be shooting 62, 63% from the free throw line and expect to do anything. Non-conference play, conference play, doesn't really matter. You cannot expect to do anything if you're only shooting 66 or 62%. 66 would be terrible, but at least you're thinking, all right, we're getting close to 70. But yeah, that needs to get up over 70%, and on the women's side too. And I know, yes, they're obviously working on it. So that's where we are with hoops and hockey. Yes, Coach Powers and his team playing a little they're in Lake Placid, New York, as they in the Adirondack Winter Invitational at the Herb Brooks Arena. Yes, again, that is hockey, obviously historic rivalry. Like I said, the Miracle on Ice, which again was again, he broadcast those 80 Olympic Games. But Al Michaels, the Sun Devil, forks up, yes. But do you believe in miracles? Again, and they beat Russia to advance to the gold medal game and came from behind, and they won the gold medal that year. But number 13, Coach Powers has his team rolling. They are number 13, and they will take on Clarkson tomorrow, the 29th, and will either face number 17 Cornell or number 11 UMass on Saturday. So depends, obviously, if they win. I'm sure if they beat Clarkson, they'll play the winner of Cornell and UMass, and if they drop the game to Clarkson, they'll play the loser of the Cornell UMass game. But nonetheless, if they win, they have a chance to get a win over number 17, again, who they're ahead of, but in the rankings, or number 11. So just adding to the resume as they get this set to take on this Winter Invitational. And just to kind of quickly, again, this is a team that's 13-3-4 overall, 10-2-2 at home. I've talked about it. Get out to Mullet Arena. You'll have a chance because they have their Desert Hockey Classic. That'll be out here, not this weekend, obviously, next weekend. So you get out to Mullet Arena for that. They are 3-1-2 away, and they haven't had any neutral site games, so they're 0-0 on neutral site games. But so both Matthew Copperud and Tyler Gratton lead the team, by the way, with 11 goals. And yeah, you have a lot of guys chipping in. I mean, Dylan Jackson has 7. Lucas Sillinger has 6. Alex Young also has 6. And then you have a bevy of guys that have 3 goals, a lot with 2, some with 1. But this is a team and Lucas Sillinger, he has 6 goals, but he leads the team with 20 assists. Tim Lovell right behind him. Tim Lovell's got 3 goals, but he has 18 assists on the season. And those are the top 2 assist leaders for the Devils. But man, again, just watching them play the way, like I've talked about their bounce back and adjustments, not just in-game adjustments, but when teams come out here, or when they go somewhere, they're playing them on Friday or Saturday, or on Saturday and Sunday. But adjustments, between, even, if it goes to the very, micro of it, but between shifts, between periods, but then between games to bounce back. Like I said, they were at home. They got a split with the number 2 Denver. They got a split with number 9 Providence. And it's a team that the chemistry, to overstate the obvious, you can see is there. Between the lines, and you want to have, your goalie start to shut down more and more of those opportunities. But this is a team that adjusts well, not giving up a ton of goals. And I said Copperud and Gratton have done with 9 goals, but but Dylan Jackson, who had his first career hat trick earlier this season, like I said, with 7 goals. His brother Ty has 3, but they're sharing the puck. Like I said, you have 38 assists between Lucas Sillinger and Tim Lovell. Copperud's at 9, as is Anthony Dowd. Brian Chambers has 9 assists as well. So it's, again, you're moving the puck, you're sharing the puck. A lot of, I guess, basics you could say for hockey. But look, the way they've played, you've got to get out to Mullet Arena. This because this team, look, they keep this up. Obviously, they'll be headed to play in the Frozen Four. But like I said, there's a lot of hockey to be played before that, and it's just again, it's just one of those things where where they're an exciting team, and it's the tradition has started. Yes, it started out at Oceanside, and now you're in Mullet, which is again quite a few more people can sit in there and enjoy it, and it's again absolutely awesome. So Clarkson again tomorrow on the 29th. Oh, and that game, by the way, I forgot to tell you the time. I'm like, yeah, I just assumed that you guys all knew the time, but like I said, 13, 3, and 4 overall. That game is at 5:30 local time. Like I said, from Lake Placid, New York, and the Herb Brooks Arena. It is going to be on ESPN Plus, by the way. So you can check it out there for those that have ESPN Plus. Also, it'll be on radio on Fox Sports 910 locally here. So again, check it out, 5:30 p.m. And then, yeah, they'll either take on UMass or Cornell on Saturday. So if they win, it'll be the later time. If they lose, I'm guessing it'll be the earlier time. But yeah, so we'll talk a little bit more about Clarkson tomorrow and more about Santa Clara tomorrow as well. And if anything else happens in the transfer portal, we shall talk about that tomorrow as well too. But yeah, I think for now on the transfer portal front, again, it's obviously the early signing day. Guys have committed, guys are enrolling. So front transfer portal wise, so we'll see who does that. But yeah, we shall talk about it all more tomorrow. But hey, thanks for jumping in. I'm going to get out of here. And again, I hope everybody, like I said off the top, had a very good holiday season. Enjoyed Christmas with family and friends, and food and some extra desserts that we all may have had. But you know what? It's the holidays. It was fun. Got to hang out, all that good stuff. So yeah, I'm going to get out of here, but we'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel here on Pitchfork Lunch. Again, we'll preview a little bit more of men's and women's hoops and obviously hockey as well as they get set to do battle in Lake Placid, New York, which is very, very awesome. So everybody, look, have a great rest of your Thursday. I will see you tomorrow. Like I said, same bat time, same bat channel. And again, look, you can follow me on X at Diablo00, the artist formerly known as Twitter. At Diablo00, you see the show live here. On my IG live, michael.caratanudo.5 on IG. Hit me up. Follow me on Instagram. And then also the YouTube channel, guys. Go to my YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Watch the shows. Share the shows that you've missed. And go from there. But you can check out the YouTube. It's at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Cat 005. At MVC005 on YouTube. Subscribe. And you can check it all out from any shows you've missed. And like I said, the great interviews that you've missed, you can check it out from there. So with that being said, I'm going to get out of here. Have a great rest of your Thursday. I will see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. And yes, Sun Devil Nation, you know it. As always, forks up.
Terry's three. Johnny Walker. Mashing up against the control. His shot. Bruce score. They score. They tie the game up 2-2.
Some drives out for Robbie Ryan. Her three right on the money. This is Taya Hansen for three. Other side of the rim with a pretty reverse.
Wow. 5 seconds to go. Find Hawk. Hawk spins. It rolls on. And Arizona State wins it.
Edward pulls off.
Daniels takes the shot for